Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Matt Geiger, and today we're going to be talking about exposing the fraud in California and other states. Matt, thank you so much for joining me. It's been about a month now. How are you doing?
Doing well, Nick. Been busy, busier than ever. Crazy. And thanks to your viewers, they've been calling in and, putting some business through us. So that's awesome. We're taking great care of them. They'll tell you. I'm not in San Francisco, by the way.
Yeah,
I am
no,
in
that's
Arizona.
a really nice backdrop. But yeah, no, it's great because what you're doing, and since you're on the topic, I just thought I'd say that what you're doing is great because people don't realize, and the schools from when we were kids have not taught us, obviously, how corrupt keeping money, paper money or fiat currency, and just saving fiat currency. Because in the background, what they're doing is that they're printing money and they're devaluing that currency or fiat currency. So we're thinking we're just saving 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, but we're saving, our money is going down because they're inflating it, weakening that faster than what we're saving. Whereas when we buy gold, it does the exact opposite. When you buy gold and silver, every time they print, gold and silver becomes expensive because we need more of those dollars to buy gold and silver. So that's what you're doing. You're getting people out of the matrix. You're educating them into getting out of that 401k, out of the IRAs, and putting in to their gold and silver. And they're in turn becoming a lot wealthier because they're printing money in the long term, and and that's a good way to protect your future, to protect your retirement, and also your children. And this is taking responsibility, sovereignty, and freedom. And you can't go wrong because gold is real money. And I'm going to leave a link below in the description so that you can get in touch with Matt Geiger for this. And Matt, thank you so much because I've got so much response from some of the viewers who've come forward and said to me that you've dealt amazingly with them for shifting that over for them. And I think that it is a bit of an awakening when you realize how gold and silver is really God's money. It's true money. It's real value. And the fiat currency is so corrupt.
Yep. That's a silver American Eagle. That's what I generally like to recommend to people. And you're exactly right. I mean, I think this year, Nick, it's going to be the year of Trump devaluing the U.S. currency. It's already happening. And it's funny because Trump says we have the strongest dollar we've ever had. And yet the dollar continues to lose value statistically. The real statistic is the dollar is probably, 2 cents to every 100 cents of what it used to be. But nevertheless, Trump's going to start to devalue the dollar very rapidly. And I think the reason for that is we're going to have to deal with this debt, from what we understand. And I think, we've discussed this before on the show is Trump is here to walk this country through bankruptcy at some point, right? There's really no way to pay off all the debt. It's a very sticky issue. It's a very difficult issue. Sorry about the dogs. It's a very difficult.
Don't worry.
It's a very difficult issue to have to deal with. He's going to have to negotiate with China, and China released COVID on us. And during that time, during 2020, Trump even said, if you remember, he said, China owes us $20 trillion. So it's going to come to a showdown, right? And during that time, what's going to happen is gold and silver are going to continue to move up while every other asset class is going to move down. No one's going to want to be in the stock market. I mean, the stock market's way overinflated. What is it, like 48,000 now? Stock market has no business being at 48,000. There's going to be a massive correction. It's not that, your money's going to go to zero and you're going to lose your life savings. No, it's just that everything's going to get cut down to size. And really, your life raft here in all this is really gold and silver. That's truly what it is. It's not a long-term strategy. It's a bridge to get out of this system. And I think that's how we've been positioning it, for the last year we've been working together. It's really about positioning it as a bridge to get out of the system while everything else fails. It's not a long-term investment strategy. Everybody's going to be cashing in their gold and silver, moving right back into the markets. But we got to clean this thing up. The whole system's corrupt. So it'll be interesting to see what Trump does. And I very much look forward to it.
Yeah. And when Trump does what you just said, gold and silver is going to go up. And we've seen it go up a lot. It's come back down a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of politics that's going on right now that's going to affect the price. Deep state probably definitely wants to suppress that.
Yep.
But, this is the thing. So we have to get out of fiat currency. Simple as that. Okay, get out. If you've got a lot of money in your bank account, right, and you think you're saving there for your future, no, it's devaluing. The number stays the same, but the value is dropping behind the scenes. We need to be putting it in 401ks, out of 401ks, out of your IRAs, and put it into gold. Gold is
And
going
we
to shoot up.
Right. You can do it in an IRA. In other words, what we specialize in, we're obviously just a, gold and silver mom and pop shop here in Glendale, Arizona. Right. And again, not San Francisco. Um, you can come in, you could buy one piece of silver from us. That's perfectly fine. With IRAs and 401ks, what we do is we transfer that fund tax-free, penalty-free to a self-directed IRA, and we purchase physical gold and physical silver, which we do have the option if you want to store it yourself. I mean, you're really not supposed to. We're just a gold dealer in the equation, but we can structure it in such a way where we can ship you your IRA gold and silver. And we would, obviously recommend that, hey, go put in a depository, go put in a safety deposit box or your credit union, whatever. You're really supposed to have a third party hold it. Do some people hold it themselves? I would imagine they probably do. But I think the depositories out there, I think they're perfectly fine. These are IRS approved facilities. That means the IRS goes in there, they check out the security, right? It meets certain standards, certain security requirements. And we have a lot of options. We have more options than any other company out there. So we might be small, but we certainly pack a punch.
Yeah, I say if you're going to put it in a vault because some people don't like it in their house. They get their house
Absolutely.
broken, it can get stolen. I understand that.
Yeah.
You want it physical, but you have to put it in my opinion, you can put it in a private vault, not a bank. It has to be a private vault that you can have that you have the key to, that you go and visit whenever you want. It cannot be done with the bank either. They go down, they get bankrupt, they take it. It has to be a private vault.
That subject, just call me because I've sorted out all these options.
Okay.
I've got more options that people at their fingertips than any other company out there. I know this stuff like the back of my hand, So
But
I would just say on that subject,
yeah,
give a call. Go ahead, next. Sorry.
I want to tell the viewers actually something. I want us to bring up we won't mention any customers' names because it's private and confidential, but let's talk about a transaction that you did where where gold was, say, $3,000 for an example, and how much they converted their money into $3,000 worth at the time of gold, and then tell me what they made after when it became 5,000, when gold went up to 5,000, or it went a little bit over $5,000, right? Because then that will put things in perspective. Because if they don't do that, they're just going to keep their fiat currency and it's just going to be devaluing. So,
well, first off,
let's talk about that profit margin that they made there.
Yeah, people that bought gold at 3,000 or even cheaper, maybe even 2,000. The beauty is that I'm not charging crazy commissions. I take a couple percentage points, and everybody gets. I don't, as I always say, I don't want your grandmother's retirement account. I don't want to take her money in commissions. It's the last thing I want to do. I want to do a good job for people, build a good name and reputation for myself, and keep it moving. Whereas you go to these other gold companies, gold is 3,000 spot price. You realize later you paid 7,000. It's disgusting. But the people that have worked with me at, let's say 3,000 gold price, I mean, they could resell, typically I'd put them in gold eagles if they take my advice. Those gold eagles today, if you look them up online or wherever, they're probably selling for maybe 5,200. So it's a big gain. And certainly, gold had a big uptick, about a year and a half ago, where the gold really ran up the scoreboard and just recently had a nice run. And then you have, of course, silver, which, over the last, few months since the fall season, I mean, silver's doubled, tripled in price. I mean, obviously it pulled back a little bit recently, but that's okay. It's like, and on the subject, it's just funny because, here I am with, 1 week wait times. I can't get enough silver in my possession to sell it here locally or, nationwide, whatever. And somehow the price is going down. How does that make any sense? You have a 1 to 2 week delay on certain products and the price is going down. And this is industry wide. This is everybody. It makes absolutely no sense. And that tells you, what is that? That's market manipulation. That's the banks are throwing paper ounces at it that don't exist. It's just compounding the problem that the banks are going to have. They're trying to stay afloat with these short positions. The speculation is that Trump offloaded some of these short positions to the Fed so that it wouldn't destroy the banks, because silver going up the way it has would have otherwise destroyed Bank of America, Citibank, based on their naked shorts. So it's interesting to see it. And what's funny is you can't really we're not going to be told what's happening behind the scenes in the banks, right? It's almost like we have to have these conversations and speculate about it because no one's going to tell us. We can only infer, maybe through certain market signs or whatever, what might be happening behind the scenes. But based on what Silver's done, it's crazy. I mean, I had, every single one of my clients from last year quite literally has doubled their money. Their money has literally 2x.
Literally, yes, they have. Absolutely. They've made tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars just from yeah, just from your help. Just from your help, from moving their 401ks or IRAs into gold.
And again, it's because we're low commission. We don't want to take huge commissions from you. We want to keep it real inexpensive, real razor thin margins, do a good job for people. What these guys out of Los Angeles do, these gold companies out there, these guys are clowns. They're gold brokers by day and they want to be, Axl Rose by night. These guys are a bunch of jokers. And if nothing else, if I can help you steer clear of these guys, I'm happy to do that.
Absolutely. So I'm going to leave the link below. Click on the link for Matt Geiger, and he will walk you all through it. I think it's an amazing opportunity to protect your retirement in the future. It's a no-brainer, really. It's a no-brainer. Now, I want to move forward into exposing the fraud in California and other states as well, like Minnesota, New York. Why don't you tell us what's going on there?
Well, of course, we had Nick Shirley going into, obviously Minnesota. And, he's exposing these Somali daycare centers, right, and healthcare centers, transportation companies. These are basically front groups for money laundering. And it couldn't be, more clear as day. The Leering Center, right? I actually bought his sweatshirt from Nick Shirley Defense. We'll give him a plug because he's doing such a wonderful job. But, that fraud, what it signaled to me when it happened, and I think we discussed this on prior episodes, is it signaled to me that it's not just the Somalis, right? The Somalis are it's almost like they're the least of our worries. It's the politicians running these cities, like this Jacob Fry guy, the Ilhan Omar, the Tampon Tim, right? These guys are running the fraud ring. They knew what was going on. They knew damn well. There's a recording that Scott Bessent, the head of the U.S. Treasury Department, he claims, and I believe him, I have no reason not to, he claims that he has tapes of the AG, Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota. Keith Ellison specifically saying not to look into the fraud. So they have these guys dead to rights, okay? And they're going to make it about ICE. They're going to make it about, illegal immigration raids, which is a law, by the way. I mean, I don't understand what these people are protesting because they're getting criminals out. That's what they're looking. They're not even taking out, the hotel worker. Trump even came out and said, we're going to have some sympathy for the hotel workers and the people that, the farmers and the guys picking the crops. We're going to go easy on those guys. We're getting out the criminals right now, rapists, murderers, and these liberals are protesting this. So, I mean, it's a joke, and they're using that as the front to say, don't look at this fraud. Don't look over here at this fraud. But Nick Shirley, we just got a little taste of his reporting in California, and he walked up. There's a very quick video clip of him walking up to a Somali's, I think it's a Somali's home, just an average home on a block, just a basic, average family home. And it's a daycare center. So he's in there. I think Nick is going to be dropping some incredible stories about California. I've seen some other Patriot podcasters starting to investigate California. It's great to see our independent journalists, our alternative media journalists, people that just go in there with a camera, basic camera and a microphone. They don't have billions of dollar budgets. They go in there, got to pay for a hotel, whatever. Going in there and doing real journalism. It's very refreshing, and I'm very excited about it.
Absolutely. And what do you think about all the Epstein stuff that's going on? Apparently 6 million pages.
It's fantastic. This is, I mean, we knew that this whole story would backfire on the Democrats. I mean, sure, Trump had him at Mar-a-Lago. He kicked him out, right? Trump rubbed elbows with everybody. He knew everybody. I mean, from what I understand, Trump created his own intelligence agency in the 1980s, right? His own private security firm. So, of course, he's going to know who Jeffrey Epstein is. But clearly, based on what prosecutors have said in the case, right, when Epstein actually went on trial back in, I think, the 2000s, they said that Trump was extremely helpful. He gave him all the time and information that they could possibly want. It's implicating all these Democrats. It's implicating Hollywood. It's going to completely backfire. And what's funny, and we've said it on the show, is we've always said that Epstein's still alive. And now what are people saying? Oh, is Epstein alive? Right. So I find it hysterical that us tinfoil hatters, we just continue to get it right time after time. We're nothing but right.
Yeah, I mean, for those who are not sure, Donald Trump actually, he did let Jeffrey Epstein in Mar-a-Lago, the club, the members club. But this was way before Jeffrey Epstein was even known, and he had a private jet, and his private jet would be rented out to a lot of celebrities who didn't even know who Jeffrey Epstein was. So a lot of people on the flight log doesn't mean they did anything bad. It
Exactly.
means that they used the flight, that they're his private jet, but they didn't even know who Epstein was. He wasn't even famous. And and what happened was Trump found out that Epstein was secretly taking Trump's staff, female staffs, for massages, grooming them, etc. And Trump banned him from Mar-a-Lago. Okay. And nobody would report anything to the FBI. Trump was the only one that came forward that was happy to work and provide information to the FBI, which is what helped get Epstein arrested. So all these pictures that we're seeing with Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, this is way before Jeffrey Epstein was even famous. This is
And most
way
of them, what the Democrats do, I've seen these blatantly photoshopped photos that they pass around on these liberal, social media channels, and it's like they just want to get Trump. In their mind, Trump's the devil. They'll do anything it takes. They don't care if they have to lie, cheat, and steal. These are the values of the average Democrat and the Democrat voter. They don't care. Their politics have been embedded in their personalities. When this stuff blows up in their faces, it's going to absolutely destroy their worldview, among many other things that they're going to learn about their so-called politicians. I mean, these guys are a bunch of jokers.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Well, I look forward to seeing what's going on with that. But Matt, thank you so much for joining me today and getting the word out there. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
It's always good to talk about Somali fraud and, Jeffrey Epstein and gold and silver, some of my favorite topics. So thank you for having me. And if anybody, needs some insights or advice on this stuff, precious metals, give me a call. Happy to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Matt. Great work you're doing, and we'll speak again soon. You take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nick.
Bye.